Hello, friends. This week we're going to talk about the Mercedes-Benz W108 and 109, the large sedan that they made from 1965 to 1973. And I'll start by saying that what you drive says something about you. A Volkswagen Eurovan, for example, says, I'm probably way too into my favorite band, and also I might be comfortable with not showering for a few days. A classic Mercedes, on the other hand, has an air of refinement and distinction. They're fancy, but not pretentious. They say that your personal tastes run independent of whatever the latest fashion trends are. Or maybe it just says, Grandma didn't drive a lot at the end and she knows how much you liked her car. But the point is, there is a coolness about old Mercedes-Benzes, and that coolness is a lot more affordable than you might think. A brief history and overview. This car debuted at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1965, replacing the W111 and 112 sedans, although they would continue on in coupe and cabriolet. That old car had tail fins on it, which, think about that for a second, that is how influential 50s American car design was, that even Mercedes copied it. For the new car, though, they were like, it's the 60s, everything is modern, get rid of the tail fins. And so they gave this car the upright styling and tall greenhouse that would be a hallmark of Mercedes design for decades to come. The breakdown between models is pretty simple. W108 cars have steel springs, and W109 cars have an air suspension, plus fancier trim and other luxury items. In the early cars, the badge on the trunk lid referred to the engine size, 250 being a 2.5-liter inline-six, 300 being a 3-liter. And by the way, those engines share a common link with Nissan's inline-sixes. Prince, which was absorbed by Nissan in 1966, had licensed the Mercedes-Benz design and used it for inspiration on its own G-series of engines, which was used in the early Skyline 2000 GT, and then later the revised Nissan S20 was used in the first two Nissan GTRs, which then led to the L-series of engine made famous by the Z-Car and the Datsun 510. So that's pretty fun. Now, remember when I said the numbers get confusing? Starting in 1967, and I'm going with the German model years here because it gets even more confusing when you try to figure out which ones came to the United States when, a new 2.8-liter was the only inline-six, joined by three V8s. 280 now meant the short wheelbase W108, with the 300 referring to W109, even though it came with a 2.8-liter engine and not a 3-liter like the 300 might suggest. So the next time someone says the numbers on German cars used to make sense, remember they haven't made sense in a long time. On the 300, the V8s got an extra badge representing the engine size, 3.5, 4.5, or 6.3. Which brings me to the great origin story of the 6.3. This engineer, Eric Waxenberger, was getting crap from his friends. They were like, you're making an old man car now. And he was like, I'll show you. And he went and got the big V8 from the 600 limousine, that's the dictator car, and crammed it into a 300 SEL. His boss found out and was like, I won't get mad at you, but only if you let me drive it. He liked it, and then they decided to sell it to the public. At the time, it was the fastest production sedan in the world. And today, 0 to 60 of less than 7 seconds still isn't too shabby. Later, some crazy guys at a shop called AMG decided to take one racing. So the 6.3 is pretty much Mercedes-Benz royalty, up there with all the other greats in the company's history. And you can get one for around $25,000 to start. Although this 1971 car we sold for $47,250 is more in the range of what they cost in good condition. Low mileage, all original cars, and restoration sometimes go for even more money. And that's the case for all W109s, not just the 6.3. In general, prices go up with engine size, but there's a lot of overlap between models. Right now, you can find inline sixes starting in the low teens, but the nice ones go for around $20,000, like the two we've sold so far on Hemmings Auctions. This fuel-injected 1971 280 SE for $19,950, and this two-owner 1968 250S for $20,475. V8s start around $15,000 and go up from there, almost in direct correlation with condition. You'll pay more for a nicer car. The main thing to watch out for on these cars is the air suspension on the W109s, which can be a hassle to maintain and repair, and even if you do the work yourself, it can get expensive, or at least more expensive than a set of shocks and springs. But overall, these are considered to be pretty reliable cars. Outside of areas and seasons that have salt on the road, this would even make a pretty good daily driver. It's comfortable, spacious, has sophisticated style that you don't see on a lot of new cars, even on new Mercedes-Benzes. Like the title of this video says, these are timeless classics. And that's all this week. Next week, we'll get back to recapping some recent sales from Hemmings Auctions. In the meantime, go visit HemmingsAuctions.com, check out all the new cars going up for bids every single day, plus premium classifieds you can buy right now, and an email newsletter for your daily auction fix. And as always, thanks for watching.